It's not what happens to you, but how you respond that matters. Epictetus wrote this almost 2,000 years ago, but it seems like he wrote it yesterday, because today all it takes is a sound, a ping, a notification, a phrase out of place, and your body is already at war. Your heart races, your jaw clenches, and your fingers race to type a response that deep down you already know you'll regret. And then comes the silence. That bitter taste of having reacted faster than you thought. How many times have your worst decisions stemmed not from malice, but from haste, from the need to prove something, to be heard, to not appear weak? Emotional detachment, in the Stoic view, is not coldness, it is mastery. It's the rare art of feeling the impact of the wave and still choosing its direction. And in the Christian view, it is handing over the steering wheel of the ego to the one who sees beyond the present moment, so that your peace no longer depends on the tide, but on the rock. Stay with me. In the next few minutes, you'll master a simple method to maintain your center when the room spins. And at the end, I'll give you a 2-minute practice that seals this transformation in your body. If this already makes sense, subscribe now, turn on notifications, like this video so more people can find it, and watch until the end, because your action plan is born in the last few seconds of this video. You don't silence humanity. You stop auctioning off your future to the whims of the moment. That's how you become that steady presence in a rotating room, calm, proportionate, subtly powerful. The first move is subtle, response instead of reaction. Life is rarely lost in catastrophes, it's lost in 10-second storms. A hurtful tone, a message that arrives hot, a delay that pokes at pride. Reaction is a reflection of the body, response is the authorship of the mind. And here faith whispers the same invitation. The peace of God, which transcends all understanding, will guard your hearts and your minds in Christ Jesus. This isn't text for paintings, it's spiritual technology for the hour of crisis. The Stoic mind opens the gap of a breath between stimulus and decision. The Christian heart fills that gap with a peace that doesn't depend on circumstances. Detachment begins in the body, not in the story. Your chest heats up, your jaw clenches, your eyes narrow around that phrase you need to send. That's the alarm, not the enemy. Let it ring. Name them in simple language: anger, shame, fear, ego, without turning them into identity. You are not the wave, you are the beach that feels it. From the moment you can say, "This is a strong feeling, not the whole truth," you buy a millimeter of freedom. Those who live by faith recognize that same millimeter as a space of grace, not denying what they feel, but refusing to let the feeling become sovereign. God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power, love, and self-control. Self-control is the bridge between Marcus Aurelius and Paul. Disciplined reason, sustained by a love that doesn't need to prove anything in public. Now give time the work that adrenaline wants to steal. Adrenaline demands speed, wisdom demands proportion. A non-heroic minute to change your state before trying to change the world. Stand up, exhale longer than you inhale, fix your gaze on a point. If it's truly important, it survives 60 seconds. From more stable ground, ask 3 small questions that shrink the drama to its real size. What is fact? What truly matters in light of my values and Christ's commandments? What is the next small step that honors both? Fact is filmable, not prediction. What matters is compared to values, not to the ego's appetite. Next is concrete and proportionate. A clean line instead of an inflamed paragraph, a request for a call instead of a text war, a return to the work block that anxiety hijacked. You don't owe the world your immediacy, you owe yourself integrity. In Stoicism, integrity is the art of aligning energy with reality. In faith, it's living yes, yes, no, no, without theatrics. Some people will interpret your composure as coldness. Let them. Coldness is how chaos calls for calm when it can no longer control you. You're not suppressing feelings. You're refusing to let them become overseers. Saying, "I'll reply later with affection," isn't escape. It's self-control. "I'm not available for that right now" can be said warmly, without judgment. Detachment isn't indifference. It's refusing to auction off the center every time a bell tolls. And this is where faith adds gentle fire. Your calm doesn't rest solely on your discipline. It rests on someone. You do your part and entrust the rest to the hands that sustain the day. João, our quick portrait, used to spend entire afternoons bombarded with notifications. One day he anchored two simple decisions: a minute of breathing before responding and a question of faith before acting. Does this honor truth and love? The result? Fewer speeches, more choices, less always and never, more today was tough. 3 people disagreed. What do I learn? He didn't become a saint. He became a governed man by trained reason and active hope. The focus isn't João, it's what governed him. The Stoic map calls this the dichotomy of control, separating what is yours from what is not, your interpretation, attention, choices, words, pattern, and rhythm, from what does not respond to your commands, other people's moods, algorithms, traffic, macroeconomics. The gospel calls it intelligent surrender. Thy will be done, not as giving up, but as a strategy. You do what is right, leave the outcome to God. When attention wanders to horizons you don't control, will they choose me? Will it go viral? Bring it back to tools you can use now. The mind panics when it feels useless. It calms down when you give it honest leverage. In your notebook, write a line. I possess the clarity of the message, the tone, the preparation, the presence, the follow-up, the limit. And with each deviation, return to this as if returning home. Separating facts from stories heals half the suffering. And faith cleanses the other half. Where the mind says, "They ignored me," the Christian asks, "What truth sets me free to act with love now?" Offer 3 plausible hypotheses before deifying the grim narrative. Choose the smallest step that tests reality. Touch the world with a fruitful gesture, a clear follow-up, a concrete review, a connection that restores a human touch. Truth doesn't need adjectives. It needs contact. And contact reduces anxiety to its own size. A top-down perspective is another remedy. Up close, everything seems definitive. From afar, it regains its proportion. The Stoics mentally ascended to see life in scale. Faith ascends to see everything in the light of God, teaches us to number our days, and returns to the ground with priorities edited. Many rituals that devour your schedule don't survive an aerial audit. Instead of polishing the 10th slide, make the connection that truly bends the curve. Instead of warring by text, bring it to voice with a clean request. Instead of checking metrics hour by hour, secure a daily block of deep work. Altitude filters out noise, the spirit filters the heart. Prepare for the curve before the curve. Premeditatio malorum, as the ancients say, not to suffer twice, but to recognize at the right time the terrain you have already rehearsed internally. Faith translates to vigilance without paranoia. If the meeting falls apart, I'll reclaim the hour for deep work. If the file fails, I have a plan B. If the tone rises, I'll ask a question that opens up space. Add virtue to contingencies. If late, patience. If resistance, clarity. If disrespect, dignity. You are not just delivering packages of results. You are becoming someone who honors God, including in the way you respond. Choose voluntary discomforts that expand your capacity. Cold water for 30 seconds, a simple meal when anxiety craves sugar, 25 minutes of focus before touching anything that might cause you pain, a clean no where you usually give in. The body learns, we can handle this, and when the blow comes without warning, the memory protects you from the surprise. That's stoicism in the flesh, and it's faith in the everyday, discipline that buys bandwidth to love better. Distancing yourself from yourself is not suppression. Instead of "I am anger," say "anger is present." Speak about yourself in the third person like a good coach. John, breathe. What matters in the next 5 minutes? This grammar creates a flash between what you feel and what you decide. The Stoic governs the impulse. The Christian consecrates the decision, "Thy will be done in me." Don't confuse apatheia with apathy. The target isn't a cold heart, it's a governed heart. Good days aren't empty, they're ordered. You feel irritation and choose proportion. You feel pain and choose dignity. You feel desire and choose time. Faith only fine-tunes this music. Everything is permissible for me, but not everything is beneficial. True calmness increases your capacity to love and speak the truth. If your calmness diminishes your love, it's not calmness, it's escape. Amor fati, loving reality, is not romanticizing pain. It is refusing to live a second life, fighting with the first. Faith calls this militant gratitude. In everything give thanks, not because everything is pleasant, but because everything can be material for maturity. You feel, breathe, and return your hands to what responds when you move. Does the result open? Great, you were ready. Does it close? Also great. You have data and you won't waste the season making a drama when you can sharpen the instrument. Indifference to praise and blame is shifting the gravity inward. Praise becomes data, criticism becomes data. Neither directs your center. You measure the day by entries you can repeat, 500 words you sign, 3 clear offers, a bulletproof notepad, a sincere prayer before the decision. That is practical stoicism. That is honest discipleship. Limits without bitterness close the circuit. You don't need anger to draw a line. You need governance. I don't talk about work after 8. Sensitive matters only verbally. No rehearsals, no sermons. Consequences without contempt. The room learns. And the guilt? If it broke your values, repair it. If it's just friction over honoring a value, let it pass while you collect receipts for the good that the limit protected. Before acting, 2 minutes of silence. Not to seem spiritual, but to remember who is making the choice. 10 breaths with a longer exhalation. 3 questions. What is real? What matters? What is next? Move forward by what lasts longer than your fear. At the end of the video, I'll give you this practice in a pocket version. Now, if this is already making you feel good, subscribe, activate the bell, like, and get ready. The most important part comes at the end, with the synthesis you will use tomorrow morning without depending on motivation. Have you ever noticed how a simple message can change the course of your entire day? A wrong tone, a delay, a phrase that touches the ego, and suddenly the world seems to spin off its axis. It wasn't the event that broke you, it was the reaction. The mind races, the body heats up, and before you know it, you're serving an impulse as if you were a king. That's how we lose our calm, focus, and peace. But today, that changes. Because true power isn't in controlling others, it's in governing yourself when everything inside you demands urgency. This is where stoicism and faith meet, in the sacred space between what we feel and what we choose to do with it. The Stoics called it freedom. Jesus called it self-control. And both knew that the man who masters himself is stronger than the one who conquers cities. To be unwavering is not to be insensitive, it is to have a burning heart and firm hands. It is to be able to look chaos in the eye and say, I choose to respond, not react. That is the art that changes destiny. So before we continue, stop for a second. Take a deep breath. Feel the air going in, going out. The world hasn't ended. What's happening inside you right now is more important than anything that appears on the screen, And if this message has already started to resonate with you, if you feel this is what you need, subscribe now, activate the bell, and like this video. Because what comes next will teach you how to walk through the storm with firm feet and a light soul. Calmness is not a mystical gift, it's practice. It's the result of thousands of micro-choices where you say, I am the author, not the hostage. And the practice begins with small frictions, the other person's lateness, the cold email, the unfair criticism, the silence that echoes too much. The Stoic breathes, observes, names. The Christian surrenders, trusts, starts again. One uses reason to hold the helm, the other uses faith to remember who is really in command. And when these two unite, a force is born that nothing external can break. John, the ordinary man who lives within us all, learned this the hard way. He spent years trying to conquer life by shouting, controlling everything, reacting to everything, until he understood that he didn't need to conquer the world. He needed to conquer himself. The day he began to observe before responding, to pray before acting, and to breathe before deciding, the storm still came. But he didn't become part of it. This is what Epictetus and Paul would teach together if they sat side by side. Freedom lies not in fleeing from pain, but in not being enslaved by it. Stoicism teaches you to hold the helm. Faith teaches you that there is a lighthouse beyond the fog, a guide, a purpose. So when the next ping comes, when life tests your patience, remember this: the wave comes for everyone. The difference is who remains standing. And it is this difference that we will build here, step by step. True transformation begins when you understand that calmness is not the absence of emotion. It is the presence of purpose. Being unwavering doesn't mean not feeling. It means not being dominated by what you feel. It's looking at fear, anger, pride, and saying, you can talk, but I'm the one who decides. The Stoic does this with discipline. The Christian does this with faith. Together, they build something rare, a mind under control and a heart under grace. Jerome learned that self-control is like a spiritual muscle. It grows through repetition. He started small, a minute of silence before responding, a prayer before acting, a calmly uttered no when the world demanded haste. And each time he did this, chaos lost a little of its power over him. What was once impulse became choice. What was once anxiety became peace. And this peace was not born from denial, but from practice, breathing, thinking, praying, and only then acting. The Stoics called this living according to reason. Jesus called it living in the Spirit. Both knew that true power lies not in changing circumstances, but in changing how you see them. When you separate what is yours from what is not, what you can control from what you need to surrender, something within you aligns. You remember who you are and who God is. Faith gives you the courage to let go. Stoicism gives you the clarity to continue. So today, make this commitment. In every situation, choose the interval between feeling and acting. In that interval, place a sigh and a prayer. In that space, wisdom enters. And little by little, the mind strengthens, the heart calms, and the world loses its power to drag you down. Because when the soul is firm in God and the mind trained by reason, no chaos can destroy you. It only trains you. For the next 24 hours, practice this challenge. Before each reaction, take a deep breath and silently say, Lord, guide my response. This simple gesture will begin to change the shape of your days. It will give you time to choose clear words, firm actions, and decisions that you can sign with peace tomorrow. And remember, being unwavering isn't about being perfect. It's about falling and getting back up more calmly. It's about living amidst the noise with an anchored heart. It's about trusting that even when everything seems out of place, there's a greater meaning being unfolded. As Marcus Aurelius said, the obstacle is the way. And as Jesus promised, "My peace I give to you, not as the world gives." This is the art of not being shaken, living with a stoic mind and a surrendered soul, firm as marble and alive as the Spirit. If this message resonated with you, subscribe now, turn on notifications, like the video, and leave a comment with a phrase that stuck with you, something you'll put into practice starting today. That way, we can continue together between reason and faith, learning to live with calm, clarity, and true power. And if you've stayed this far, write in the comments, "I control my actions," and watch the video I'll leave at the end of this video. I'm sure you'll like it.